Hello, everyone. It's good to be back in this stadium, obviously. Chancellor Blank and the Board of Regents, faculty, parents, family members, friends, distinguished guests, thank you. You know, obviously it's an honor to be here today. And Bill, thank you for that introduction, really good. I didn't know all that about you, but it's fun to hear. And congratulations to the class of 2016. You know, Chancellor Blank, you talked about beating Minnesota. I remember beating Minnesota at Minnesota pretty good too. So, you know, it feels good to be back at Camp Randall. And, you know, I've stood in this end zone many times before, but never quite in a uniform this ridiculous. I'm just waiting for the jump around. You know, I was really excited to come back to Madison on a weekend, and it's been a while since I've gone to Wando's and see you guys at Wando's and drinking your fish bowls. That's a joke, maybe. And we've got some fun spots in Seattle, but nothing quite like Wando's. Of course, I'm also here to share some things I've learned. Things like, if you're dating a woman that's way out of your league, ask her to marry you. If you can throw a football 80 yards, for some reason, people think that's pretty cool. And if you're playing New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, and you've got 26 seconds left, and you're down by 4, and it's 2nd and goal on their 1-yard line, try not to throw an interception. That's purely hypothetical, though, of course. But no, here's something I really have learned. You can't do it alone. You've got to surround yourself with good people. You know, I'm lucky to have some really good people with me today. My mom, my sister, and my fiance. And class of 2016, you've got some really good people with you today too. So let's give it up for parents, grandparents, family and friends, professors and mentors who have helped you make it this far. They deserve a big round of applause. Of course, today though, is about the graduates. You know, earlier today, I had a chance to meet just a few of the members of the class of 2016. And I was truly inspired. I met Marcus Bowles. When Marcus came here, the first time he failed a few classes and had to transfer out. But he didn't give up. After community college, he came back to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and today, he's getting that bachelor's degree. I met Leah Olson. Leah's 6-year-old son, Dylan, has cerebral palsy, but he's not willing to let that define him. And neither is Leah. She's always fought for her son, and she's graduating today with a degree in social work so she can fight for even more families like theirs. I met Pablo Montes. Pablo is the first in his family to go to college. There were semesters when he worked 3 different jobs while studying full-time. One semester, he couldn't make enough to pay rent, so he was homeless, living on friends' couches. It hasn't been easy for Pablo, and yet today, he's graduating with a double major in sociology and human development. I met Catherine Nachman. Catherine served our country as an intelligence analyst in the Marine Corps. Then she went to school and earned her undergraduate degree, and today she's graduating with a master's in social work. You know, meeting with Marcus and Leah and Pablo and Catherine and hearing stories about all the people here in the stadium who are already beating the odds and changing the world, I admit, I almost felt kind of confused. I mean, I'm not the most conventional person to give a charge to the graduates. I was a college student myself just 6 years ago, and you know, the thought of turning 30, just being 27, still kind of scares me. And when a 300-pound guy chased me down the field with a big G on the side of his helmet wearing green and yellow, the last thing I'm thinking about is how do I use my liberal arts degree? But here's what I realized. In a few hours, all of us will leave Camp Randall with the exact same mission, to make the most of whatever talents we were born with, whatever gifts God's given us. Because if you're earning a degree from UW-Madison, the question isn't whether you have something to offer to the world. You definitely have something to offer to the world. The question is how and whether you'll do it. There's something my dad used to always teach me, I should say. I remember playing t-ball as a kid, and not to brag, but I was a really good t-ball player. I mean, I'm talking about really good. I crushed t-ball. So even though I was just 3 or 4 years old, I remember thinking, I could be something special one day. My dad thought I might be getting ahead of myself, so he'd set me straight and he'd say, son, potential just means you haven't done it yet. Potential just means you haven't done it yet. Already in my career, I've seen that lots of people have potential, but not everyone does it. And I've learned that the difference isn't the way people handle themselves when things go well. It's when you land the job you want, or you go to the school that you want, or you achieve something maybe a little bit earlier than you expected. Go ahead and celebrate it. Be happy. Enjoy it. But remember that the moments when life tells you yes aren't the ones that define you. The moments that really matter are the moments when life tells you no. That's what I want to focus on today. What do you do when life tells you no? You may be surprised to hear this, but life has told me no lots of times in my career. In 2007, I went to college at NC State because I wanted to play baseball and football. Most of all, I wanted to play, quarterback for the National Football League. Fast forward to 2008, my first eligible year on the football team, and I'm fighting against 4 other guys for the starting job. In training camp, there's a red jersey that they put on quarterbacks. Nah, not this guy. They don't give me one of those. I'm doing everything. I'm catching punts, catching routes. I'm getting hit. I know I can play quarterback. I just need the chance. About 2 weeks before our first game, my coach calls me into his office and tells me I'm not getting that chance. Excuse my country voice here, but he says, son, I'm switching your position. I'm moving you to safety. He's not asking me, he's telling me. I could have just gone along with it. Maybe I should have just gone along with it. But for whatever reason, I wasn't ready to take no for an answer. I prayed about it. I talked to my mom. I talked to my brother. I would have talked to my dad, but he was on his deathbed at the time. And after a few days, I just came to this peace. Now, this is the part of the speech where I'm supposed to tell you to believe in yourself. But those days of praying and all that wasn't about believing in myself. They were about knowing myself. Let me put it this way. I love singing. Michael Jackson, I'm Michael Jackson. I'm Michael Jackson's Tito. I'm Janet Jackson's long-lost brother. My moonwalk cuts the rug. Dancing Machine, Smooth Criminal, this guy. But no matter how badly I want to be a pop star, it would not matter how much self-confidence I had or have, or how many hours I spent at the studio. Trust me on this. I cannot sing. So the question I asked when life told me no was, what am I capable of? Am I capable of doing what I want to do? I had really had the thought to think about it. And when it came to playing quarterback, the answer was yes. I knew I could throw a football and move really well. I knew I could have the focus. I knew I had the ability to succeed. I just needed the chance. Once I knew what I was capable of, I didn't feel afraid to let everyone else know it too. So a few days after our first meeting, I walked back into my coach's office, chest big, feeling good. I'm 18, 19 years old at the time, and I said, Coach, I'm gonna be your starting quarterback. I'm gonna be first team freshman All-American. I'm gonna be first team All-ACC. I'm gonna play in the National Football League for a long time. I'm gonna win multiple Super Bowls. I'm gonna be a Hall of Fame quarterback. What do you think? He looked at me like I was crazy, scratching his head. But 3 days later, he named me his starting quarterback. So here's my first charge to the graduates. When life tells you no, ask yourself honestly, what am I capable of? And once you know the answer, don't be afraid to let everyone else know it too. Another time life told me no was during my junior year when I was playing baseball. My freshman and sophomore year at NC State, I had about 450 to 500 at bats. Now it's the first few weeks of my junior season, the draft eligible year, and I'm barely playing. And honestly, I don't know why. And this one weekend we played UC Irvine. Both teams are top 5 in the country. And I don't play at all. The whole weekend, nothing. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty frustrated. But my dad always used to tell me, be ready, always be ready. So I decided I'm not gonna complain. Instead, every time our defense comes in and we're up to bat, I put my helmet on, I put my gloves on, no more Garcia Parra style. I get my bat in hand and I stand there waiting. First inning, second inning, third inning, all the way to the 10th. We get to the bottom of the 10th or the 11th, and there's 2 guys on base with 1 out. I'm just sitting there with my helmet on looking like a dork, and a guy pops up, 2 outs. Then I hear it, Wilson, you're up. So I go to the plate, and this guy's pitching it nasty. I'm talking, he's throwing 125 miles per hour, if that's possible. I mean, fuego. I mean, he's legit. The first pitch is a slider, and what do I do with it? Swing and miss. Next pitch, a slider in the dirt. Swing again, shouldn't have swung. Strike 2. I'm 1 strike away from losing the game. It's the first time I played in a while. The guy throws me a fastball high and inside. I'm thinking to myself, I still don't know to this day why he threw me a fastball. And what do I do with it? Wham! Boom! Game over. Hit it over the fence. Now, everyone in the stands that day saw the game-winning home run, but they probably didn't notice the guy who spent all those innings on the edge of the dugout with a helmet on his head and a bat in his hand. But if I hadn't stayed prepared like that for 10 or 11 innings, that home run, that never would have happened. So that's my second charge to the graduates. When life tells you no, stay ready. Always be ready. Now, so far I've told you about 2 times when, for whatever reason, I was able to turn things around. But sometimes life tells you no, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've spoken a lot already about my dad. My mom and my dad were the biggest influences in my life. No one supported my athletic career more than he did. I got drafted to play baseball on June 8th, 2010. And the next night, my dad passed away. We knew it was coming. My dad had diabetes and he was really sick, but I'll never forget. I'm standing with my mom in the hallway and the doctors come in, they say, do you want to go back in the room? He said, we'll stay out here for another 15 minutes or so. So we keep standing there just talking, and suddenly we have this feeling of God coming between us, and we both think, you know what? We need to go back into the room. Before I walk through the door, I can see the EKG moving just fine. Beep, beep, beep. I take 1 step into the door and I say, Dad, I'm here. Beep. The line goes flat. I miss my dad every single day. People have asked me, if I had 5 more minutes with him, what would I say to him? But I wouldn't say anything at all. I'd just hug him. That's what I'd do. Because that's the kind of relationship my dad and I had. He gave me so much, and maybe most of all, he gave me the gift of perspective. Losing him was hard, but thinking about him now, I don't feel sad. I feel blessed. I feel blessed for all the days we got together. I feel blessed because I know he's in a better place. And I feel blessed knowing that if he were here today, the thing that he'd most be proud of isn't a Super Bowl ring or a new contract or a big speech at Camp Randall. He'd be proud of my family, what a strong woman my mom is, about my brother, how well he's doing, about the amazing, amazing young woman my sister has become. That's what he'd be proud of. So that's my third charge to the graduates. And maybe it's the hardest one of them all. When life tells you no, find a way to keep things in perspective. That doesn't make the painful moments any less painful, but it does mean you don't have to live forever in the pain. You don't have to live forever in that no. Because if you know what you're capable of, if you're always prepared and you keep things in perspective, then life has a way of turning a no into yes. That's what brought me to University of Wisconsin. The summer before my senior year of college, I'm playing minor league baseball. I called my football coach at NC State and say, hey coach, I'd like to come back for my senior year. And he told me I wasn't coming back. He said, listen son, you're never going to play in the National Football League. You're too small, there's no chance. You got no shot, give it up. Of course, I'm on this side of the phone saying, so you're telling me I'm not gonna come back to NC State? I won't see the field? He said, no son, you won't see the field. Now this was everything I had worked for. And now, it was completely gone. If I wanted to follow my dream, I had to leave NC State. I had no idea if I would get a second chance somewhere else. So, well, the news that I was transferring out went out around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll never forget, I was in Rome, Georgia, playing the Atlanta Braves organization. I wasn't sure what would happen. And then at 4:15, I got a call from the Auburn Tigers. And then I got another call, and another, and another, and another. Most of these coaches had never met me, but it turned out they'd heard about the way I'd handle myself, not just on the field, but off of it as well, during the good times and the bad ones too. In the end, what had started out as the biggest no of my career became the biggest yes of my career. Because I didn't get many second chances, but this second chance was right here from University of Wisconsin. From the moment I saw this campus, I knew this is the place I wanted to be. From my coaches, to my teammates, to the guys in the equipment room, to my classmates, to, of course, the fans. Everyone I met was so incredibly welcoming. And even though I only spent, about a year here, I got to see how the Wisconsin idea isn't just a motto. It's a commitment to work hard and surround yourself with good people, to never stop improving, and to make the world just a little bit better every day. We often think about heroes in life, people like Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, Eleanor Roosevelt, Rosa Parks, Ben Franklin. We think about their biggest accomplishments. What we don't always think about, though, is the moments that made them who they were. When no one was looking, but they made themselves just a little bit better anyway. When they came up short, but they didn't quit. And starting out in life and began to close the divide about who they were and who they were going to become. I think about this young guy from West Orange, New Jersey. West Orange, New Jersey's in the house? I think about this young guy from West Orange, New Jersey, and he became deaf at an early age. Scarlet fever got the best of him. However, that no did not stop him from creating the light bulb. That man's name, Thomas Edison. And now it's hailing. Thanks, Thomas. See, Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He was just that much closer to making the right one. I'm thinking a lot about those moments right now, and I bet many of you are too, because if you're here today, it's a sign that you've achieved so much more, and you can achieve so much more soon. Now, if my dad were here with us, this is the point where he'd remind us that potential just means we haven't done it yet. He'd be right. I'll get done in a second here. But he'd be right. But if we do what we need to when life tells us no, if we know what we're capable of, if we stay prepared no matter what, if we keep our sense of perspective even when times are tough, then I know that together we're going to do amazing things with our potential and achieve our greatest dreams. So on Wisconsin, I would say good luck, but I don't believe in good luck. Go make it happen. This is my story. Now it's time to write your own.